back to the channel. I've just got in for my Indian dinner, and I was worried that there was going to be Chasney all over my face without realising there. So I'm glad that we've got on the stream without any disasters. It's nice to be here. Hello, welcome along to our weekly Q&A stream, which of course has been moved from the Monday over to tonight. Because for the next few weeks it's going to be on Tuesday night. I'll be at Monday Night Raw next week in Brussels. I'll be then at Monday Night Raw the week following in Glasgow. I'll then be at Monday Night Raw the week following in London. So for the next 3 Mondays I'm occupied, which means for the next few weeks it will be Tuesday. I thought we'd move it to Tuesday night tonight just to get ourselves into the rhythm of that. And it's nice of a lot of you to already be tuning in and joining me this Tuesday night on my birthday. So thank you everybody. By the way, a lot of happy birthdays coming in the chat. I appreciate it. To every single person who's wished me it across the stream so far, who probably will wish it in the next few comments as they pile in, and over the people who said it in the comment section of today's video earlier on. I really do appreciate it, guys. Thank you all so much. I mean, look at you, you're all piling. I can't even keep up with all you. That's for the member stream, Mackenzie. The member stream's at 22. So thank you to everybody out. Listen, I would give a shout out to every single person who's saying it, but it would maybe take up the whole stream. But I will agree with what Ranny's Rovers is saying here. I feel like an unk. 25, can't believe it, 25 years old, or 25 years young, I should say. Happy 30th, you joking me, Rianne? No 30 yet. I've got another 5 years till we're talking about 30s. I was just out there. I'm glad I made it back in time. Went for a beautiful, anybody who's maybe a native to the East End, or specifically Bishop Briggs, will know there's a beautiful Indian called the Delhi Darbar up there, and it's just absolutely fantastic. So we were out there, family were out there, had a nice meal. Camera seems to be freezing, which is just fantastic. We're going to have to just put up with it for now. But yeah, it's nice to be back in time to get this stream going, because we've got a lot to talk about, and ultimately I want to hear your views, I want to hear your thoughts, and I just want to catch up with you guys. It feels like an eternity since we last sat down and done one of these. Of course, we'd done a video earlier on the channel talking about the news that has come out today, specifically in regards to the St Johnstone announcement, which confirmed that Celtic will see 3 stands at McDiarmid Park in the next game we play there, which is the day we potentially win the league officially. You know, that could be the game if we win against Rangers this weekend. If we then win against Hearts returning from the international break, it is very much possible that we could win the league and secure the title for the 4th year in a row at St Johnstone. And we will have 3 stands for it. So that was one of the big stories coming out today. And apart from that, you know, quite quiet. We found out who's going to be refereeing in the derby this weekend, which I think a lot of the chat in tonight's stream might be about. We heard the story about Celtic scouting the young lad from Dundee United, which I don't think takes too much to dissect. Essentially, for the next half hour, I want to let you guys control the narrative. And once again, thank you to the people still saying happy birthday. I do really, really appreciate it. So, as always, please get your questions in. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what you want to see / hear. I do apologise for the camera freezing every few seconds. I need to restart the whole PC for it to stop. And to be honest, I think we'd be quicker just bearing through it and just putting up with it freezing. And it won't happen again, trust me. It's just because I've left the PC on as long as I have all day without restarting it. It happens from time to time. So let's happy 60th, you cheeky bugger, Kingsley. Bloody 60th. No yet. Hail, I'll be in Gran Canaria for the derby. Should be a blast. Look at you, Reese. Happy birthday, also, Ryan. Thank you, Reese, and look at you. I'm certainly jealous of you being in Gran Canaria for the derby. I don't go to Brussels till the next day, but I think that Gran Canaria is a little bit more spectacular than Brussels. No offence to any Belgians watching. Paul McLean, what do you make of Alan Brazil's comments saying that Red Bull are looking to invest? I think it's a lot of nonsense, to be honest. I actually didn't see anything about this until earlier today, and I passed an article talking about it. Talking about Alan Brazil saying something ridiculous on TalkSport or whatever it was. I don't read into that sort of thing at all. I don't think there's any truth in it, to be honest. Is what it is. But I just think it's nonsense. I wouldn't read into it at all. It's one of those stories that's coming out. Or it's not even a story. It's Alan Brazil saying it. Alan Brazil's probably held it down the pub or seen it in some forum, just because Rangers are getting their takeover. So yeah, I wouldn't read into it at all. in the slightest. Rayan saying that Rangers play Dundee away the same day we play Hearts at home. If they lose, we would win the league. We could win the league against Hearts. Yeah, it's true. Of course, don't say never. I suppose to winning the league at Celtic Park, it could happen. I think that Rangers will win that game against Dundee, but they've been that poor domestically this season that there's always a chance of it. If I get a ticket, I kind of hope it's at McDiarmid Park. But then again, I feel like we never, ever get to win the league at Parkhead, I know there's been a couple of occasions in the last 10 or so years where we have managed to win the league at Parkhead. But like last year, I think of Rugby Park, and then I think of Tannadice when Ange was here. You always, I don't know about you, and maybe somebody would need to go and look up the exacts of this to see the exact figure of winning at home and somewhere else. But I feel like I'm far more used to seeing Celtic win the league away from home than at Celtic Park. So it would be a nice change to have all kind of 60,000 people bouncing with a league title being secured. But nonetheless, Ewan, he's in tonight. Nice to see Ewan saying that this is our best chance in years to absolutely blow our rivals out the water. 3 points is the priority, but sticking 4 or 5 past them on Paddy's weekend would be very, very sweet. Yeah, 100%. Listen, I think that it's very easy to get caught up in the whole, this is the best chance in years. I think every time they've came to Celtic Park, I've said that over the past 2 or 3 years. I don't think that one necessarily ups the other. I even look at the one at the start of this season, I thought then was maybe the chance and the opportunity to put 4 or 5 by them. It always happens. There's always games like this, and then it always seems to be the games you least expect that we end up battering them 3-4, 5-0. But I would love to do that this weekend. Of course I would. I think that would be fantastic, especially with Barry Ferguson in charge. Not to sound bitter, but him more than anybody, I'd love to stick 4 or 5 past. But it's all about winning, as you said. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, Ewan, it'd be a huge result if we could stick a good few by them. So we'll wait and see. And obviously we'll preview it through this stream. We'll preview it as the week goes on. I'm very confident we win that game at a canter anyway. Not to be overconfident or to be overzealous about anything, but I just feel like we'll win it at a canter. Would you start Rio on Sunday after his recent performances? Yeah, I probably would. I don't think his recent performances have been that bad. He was one of the poorer players in the park at the weekend, but I don't think it was enough to justify dropping the boy. He's still a fantastic player, and he always does well against Rangers. So, yeah, I would like. Listen, I'd like to see him still start the game. If anybody was to come in, it probably obviously Luke McCowan. We're short on that option with Paulo Bernardo. So, yeah. I'm going to have to skip down the chat a wee bit. So if you've got anything you desperately want me to answer and I have to skip by, then you know what to do. You know what to just keep asking. Nikaritsu saying, do you think the Celtic will try and go back for Wiesbaden in the summer? Yes, I do. I think they will. I think it's pretty much a cert, to be honest, that we go back for him in the summer. Whether it's a successful pursuit of the player or not is a different story, and how long will it last, I don't know, but I'd imagine that we'll hear a Wiesbaden story. I'd put my money on before May is out. I think before the 30th of May we will hear a story about Wiesbaden coming out, whether it's a big one or not, whether it's just a wee leak or a big leak or whatever. I think that we'll find out then. Baldy pretty confident we'll put 5 or 6 by Rangers at the weekend. It doesn't matter when we win it. Ultimately, we're lifting the title on the last day of the season anyway. That's true, but you like to get there's records to be broken and all the rest of it. And you like to get one as early as possible, and it gives them nothing to shout back about. Just watched Open Goal podcast and then heard Ross McCormack saying he'd start like McCowan over Engels on Sunday. Surely he's on something. I think that Arne Engels really should be used as a football IQ test. And I've seen this isn't an original point by me. I just want to caveat that by saying this. I seen this. It was a fantastic tweet. And I don't know who it was. I wish that I could give them credit for it, but somebody on Twitter a few weeks ago, amongst the height of the Arne, I'd say a few weeks ago, it was a few months ago now, but amongst the height of the Arne Engels good or bad conversations, was saying like he should be used as an IQ test. If you don't think that Arne Engels is a good footballer and hasn't been doing well at Celtic, you have failed a football IQ test. You do not know ball. And I know a lot of football is opinions at the end of the day, and football in many ways is an art form. Some players you might enjoy, some you might not. But Arne Engels is undoubtedly a good footballer and undoubtedly should be starting on Sunday. So I don't know what Ross McCormack is on, but I certainly don't need any of it myself. So this is one of the stories that's popped up over the past kind of 24 to 48 hours, and I did see it today. I was going to touch on it in my video, but I decided not to. I was going to let it brew a wee bit and see if anything more came from it. But Caden has raised the point Brighton are pulling a fast one, having USG put in a bid for Lennon Miller. They're trying to skip the Celtic middleman and going for the next O'Reilly. Yeah, so there is a lot of talk about the Brighton setup looking at Lennon Miller. I think there was talk of a £5 million bid somewhere online over these past couple of days. What I would say to that is just got to be patient. I wouldn't read into anything too much right now. We know that Celtic are looking at Lennon Miller. We know that Celtic will be in conversations with Motherwell this summer. It'll be a question of personal preference for Lennon Miller, I think, this when it comes to summer. So we just need to wait and see. There's no point in getting carried away too much yet, but you could say they're trying to pull a fast one. Rayanne saying, reckon it will be a close one Sunday, to be honest. I think we obviously know we will win, obviously. However, whenever we think we're going to pump them, it always ends up a 2-1 or a 1-0. Hope it is a thrashing, though. So you can never... It is the whole... And I hate using the same phrases all the time and the same... sort of cliches, but the whole thing about derbies is so true, isn't it? It's like form does go out the window. They are such an unpredictable game, and even when they have seemed their most predictable, they have ended up being, different to what you expect. And I remember that last year on the occasions we welcomed them to Celtic Park, I was very, very confident Celtic would blow them out of the water. And even, I know we weren't fantastic last year both times we welcomed them here, but it ended up like we could have been 4 or 5-0 up by half time and ended up just finishing 2-1. So yeah. Once again, need to just scroll down the chat a wee bit. Do I think that Vizcarden is Celtic level and will start most games? Absolutely. I have no doubt that he is. But AR in response to that saying, bin the Vizcarden links. He's obviously not that good. No one else has put any bids in. I mean, that's not exactly the mark of a good football player or not. How many bids comes in for the player. What matters is the football that he's playing, and it obviously means a bit. So if we're going to go off the whole, no one else has put any bids in, you think of the amount of Celtic players that we've had over the years who we consider great players. Cameron Carter-Vickers. I've never heard of a bid for Carter-Vickers since he joined Celtic. Callum McGregor. Very rarely heard of any interest in him. So many. They're just the two players that get in my head straight away. So many players that played for Celtic over the years, we've not had bids for them. Doesn't mean that it's not the mark of a good player how many transfer bids come in for them. It's depending on what teams want, what teams are willing to pay. At the end of the day, Brøndby are going to be looking for a big fee. £10 million for a Brøndby striker is enough to put off a lot of clubs from signing them. So there's only going to be a limited pool of football teams that are willing to pay that money, and I don't think that necessarily means that he's a good player or not. He's undoubtedly a good player, hence the reason that Celtic are interested in the first place. I do apologise for the freezing camera. I'm glad. Do you know what? Honestly, I'm proud of you guys, because there you go. You're not moaning about it, so please keep it that way. Try to have an enjoyable birthday here. I've taken a night off to give you a stream. I say a night off. You know what I mean? Do you think that we'll break the Scottish transfer record this summer? It's a very loaded question, Ian. And my response to that is it's a very beige answer, and it's one of those answers that doesn't give you too much insight. But it just depends on the player. It just depends on the player. Celtic aren't going to break it for no reason. It depends on the needs and depends on how good they are and how much we want them. And that's a very beige answer. You could obviously say that yourself. I'm not exactly giving you stellar insight there, but I think it's too hard to go, oh yes, of course they will break it, because we don't know if there's a player out there that Celtic are willing to break it for yet, and we're just going to have to wait and see. I just bought a signed Jota print for 125 quid. Am I a psychopath? No, absolutely not. Go on your site. Listen, I have got a collection of shite here beside me. I have paid... I'm not even going to get into the exacts of what I've paid for the stuff in this loft, right? You buy what you like. Everybody should have their hobbies and have their collectibles. People who are scared to have hobbies and collectibles aren't living. So on you go, Baldy prick. I commend you. Well done, son. Will Adam Ida ever be first choice? I love the big guy, but he can't stay in form. I believe he can be. We just need to wait and see. But I believe he can be. Everybody knows I'm a huge Ida fan, though. So, of course, I'm going to say aye to that question. And I truly believe that. I do think that there's a guy in there, a player in there that could be the consistent starter for Celtic. This is a big summer for both him and the club in terms of the striker situation. It's such a big summer for Celtic, because we'll either go out there and sign a striker, spend big money on a striker to come in and solidify their place as the starting player, or we'll bring in somebody who maybe doesn't hit the ground running straight away. It gives Adam Ida the opportunity to step up and stake his claim. And then he'll run away being number one for a wee while. But it's very unpredictable. It's very unpredictable. Do you think Yang will start against St Johnstone? Christ, we're a wee bit far away from that, Robbie. A wee bit too far away to predict who's starting against St Johnstone. I like Lennon Miller, would love him at Celtic, but I feel like he's one of them players we need to pass on him for develop as much as they can. Or Celtic could develop him. Wild idea. Wild idea. I get where you're coming from, Cobo. I really do. I understand it because it's obviously Celtic aren't a club who have taken great opportunities in developing young Scottish players. It's always young foreign players we seem to develop. But somebody will have to break that mould, and I think it could be Lennon Miller. And don't count out the possibility of him going on loan somewhere as well. I do get where you're coming from, Cobo, but I think Celtic still need to take that chance signing him. I don't think he's a player that we can afford to really let go. But well, we can afford. It's not like it's going to be. It's not disastrous for Celtic if they don't sign him, but I do think it's negligence. And that's negligence that we should avoid, I really think. Do I think he'll start on Sunday? Phil Rogers would like to give him a start. Not on Sunday. I think maybe when we're back from the international break, but not on Sunday. I don't see it. I think Maeda will start through the middle. Maeda, Jota could have been playing too well together. Well, I wouldn't even say they've been playing too well together because it's not as if like Kuhn has been firing in all cylinders the way he was a couple of months ago. But they're playing well. Jota and Maeda are doing well in the roles they've been given at the minute. So I think that Ida will be all on the bench at the weekend, to be quite honest. Let's scroll down a wee bit. Let's see. I just hope nobody mentions that they play on Thursday before playing us and that we'll pump them because we fought that during the European run a few years back and lost in the semi-final. It's a good. Remember that. I remember going into that game and I remember being there at Hampden Park, the full-time whistle going and going, well, do you know what? Extra time should benefit us. We're the team that should be fitter here. They're the ones that have been playing intense football in Europe, and we're the ones that have had a wee bit of a break. And then bang, they went and beat us in extra time. Didn't even have to take it penalties. They beat us in extra time. So it's a good point, Paul. It's a good point. Listen, as I said, football, especially the derby, unpredictable in that sense. And we'll wait and see. Do you think that we'll get more than 100 points before the end of the season? I think that we can only draw once to get 100. I think we can do it. I really do. I think we can hit 100 points. And I think Rodgers would really like to hit 100 points in this squad, especially because we've missed out so narrowly in the last few years in doing it. I think that would be a big aim for the club if they know it's possible. But listen, treble means 100 points to me. So we'll wait and see. Ryan, not watched this. Not watched. We'll see in the member stream. We'll talk. I don't want to alienate people. Get really annoyed. Somebody the other day. Let's just break the conversation for a minute. Somebody got really annoyed on the chat in the comments the other day. Gonny's still bringing up the wrestling. It really takes me at the conversation. This is my channel. This isn't STV. This isn't BBC. This isn't Sky Sports. I'll talk about what I want to talk about, guys. But on that note, I will not alienate them. We'll get into the member stream, shall we? That's where we have our fun and games and that side of things. By the way, on that note, if you're not a channel member, you can become a channel member using the link in the top line of the description. We are going live on the members channel or members exclusive channel right after this for another stream, back-to-back streams tonight. So see you there if you're a member. If you're not, you can sign up, remember. A wee birthday double for you. I'm feeling generous. It's my birthday and I'm giving you guys the gifts. That's terrible. I sound fucking big-headed as shit saying that. Right, let's get scrolling down the chat. Let's see what I have to say. We've got about another 10-15 minutes in here before we wrap things up. So I want to take as many of your questions, as many of your talking points as possible, whether it's in relation to the game this weekend, whether it's in relation to just general Celtic moving forward, whatever. Baldy prick in relation to Lennon Miller saying we can't miss out on him in all honesty. The fact he's that good at 18 says a lot about how good he can become in the future. We could honestly get Matt O'Reilly level money for him. I agree. I do. And I think that people don't realise that because he plays for Motherwell. I think that people don't realise how good a player he is at 18. A lot of people do. Don't get me wrong, I think the majority do. But there is still a few. I get people comment every time I make a video about Lennon Miller. There's always people in the comments that go like, oh, he's not that good. And I'm like, he's 8, and he's only just turned 18, like, this season, hasn't he? I think it was the start of this season. So that's a lad who, age 16, 17, 18, has been that good. You cannot pass up on that, especially for homegrown talent. And there's certain people who moan about the lack of Scottish players in this Celtic team. There's one right there we should be signing to kind of end that conversation. Yeah, 100%. I think that we need to be going out and getting them. I really do. With KT coming in and Schlupp maybe coming in, I think our priority should be a centre-back on levels with Cameron Carter-Vickers. I know Trusty is good, but I feel like it's so much pressure on Vickers and Schmeichel without one. I think Celtic will still be looking at centre-halves. I think so. No, we can't break the 106 record, Mackenzie. That is impossible. We've dropped too many points this season. I would be surprised if Celtic ever beat that again. I think 106 is such a high number to get in a top flight in any country, whether you're talking Scotland, England, Spain, fucking Montenegro. I think in the top flight, 106 points, a 38 game season or less, that's just so hard to beat. We really set the bar high with that one. I really do. I think that we really should enjoy that for what it was, to be honest. Thank you, Dylan. I appreciate it, mate. I wouldn't mind an aging experienced centre half with a solidity about him, kind of like Schlupp. I agree. I wouldn't mind a wee bit of experience coming in that position. And I remember when I was a big fan of the shout of Chris Mepham. I don't know how his seasons went since all of that, but I remember when we were getting linked with Chris Mepham, I was thinking I would be a big fan of that, just the experience and that Premier League maturity to bring into the team. And that's not me trying to put the Premier League on a pedestal here, but we do know it's where the most experienced players are going at the minute. And I really like the shout of that. I'm not saying exactly him, but just somebody in that mould that's played a lot of Premier League football, maybe a wee bit more experienced, a cooler head. I agree. I don't mind the thought of that, to be honest. In terms of this conversation about who we should prioritise this summer, Caden saying that he'd prioritise a pivoting midfielder that can play McGregor's role as good as he can. No one bar Engels can play there. Yeah, I think that's somewhere we need to look at as well, especially with McGregor getting on a wee bit. And that's somewhere that Lennon Miller could potentially play. Now, I know he's been playing a lot higher up the park for Motherwell in recent months, and this season especially. But he is someone who I think did start off as a defensive midfielder. But listen, I don't know if Miller is necessarily going to be ready to come in and fill in that role straight away. So I think it's still a position that we should look at. Sunday's a massive opportunity for players like Engels, Kuhn and others to make their name in the derby. Yeah, I'd love to see Engels getting a big derby goal. Like an absolute screamer, you know what I mean? Not a penalty, like an absolute screamer. I'd love that. Or Kuhn. I'd love that for Kuhn. Thanks, Adam. A happy birthday, son. Been watching this channel and what was 67 Hail Hail since COVID and watched every video. Thanks, Adam. I love that, mate, and thank you so much. I appreciate it. And Hail Hail, brother. Hail Hail. I'm sure Hamish will appreciate that as well. Let's see. I done a poll on Twitter asking everyone their favourite Celtic content YouTuber, and you came second to Hamish. God damn it, Paul! I should have. If I knew, I would have promoted myself, man. I don't do self-promotion. It's just something I've done. Never done it. I don't do self-promotion. Hamish is great, to be fair. Hamish is great. Let's see. What else? Why is Calmac coming off? Is it just rest or an injury? Well, interestingly that you've brought it up, Brendan Rodgers did actually comment on that when he came off against, who did we play last weekend again? I forgot now. All the games just got in my head. Remember he came off about 60 minutes in last weekend against, who did we play? Anyway, it came off about 60 minutes in. And Rodgers said after the game that the reason he'd done it was because it was something in his groin. I think there was a kind of slight issue in his groin. Now, I don't know if that is related to why he came off earlier against Hibs at the weekend in the Scottish Cup, but I'd assume it might be playing a factor. Also, just, McGregor's played a hell of a lot of football, and he's probably more than deserving of being one of the guys. And I know he doesn't want to, but there's players to get chances, and somebody, I seen this comment the other day under the video talking about how, sometimes we should allow an Engels or a Hatate to maybe get 90 minutes because they're the ones that always seem to get subbed off early. So, McGregor, if a game's won or whatever, we shouldn't be too feared to bring McGregor off and, protect him a wee bit. But Rodgers didn't specifically comment about it after the game. But it's nice to see Engels jumping into that role. It's nice to see a wee bit of change and variety and other players getting 90 minutes. But aye. What do you think the best scoreline we can realistically aim for on Sunday? Listen, I think there'll be plenty of people who say, we could win that about 7-8-0. People will say that. People will truly believe in their soul that we will win 7 or something, 7-0 or 6-0. Listen, there's no point in going over the top about it. I just want to win. Realistically, Celtic could win by any score they please. If they turn up and play their best football against this Rangers side, they could win with any. They could win with any scoreline that they choose. But I'm not going to get carried away about it and go, Celtic could win 6-0 at the weekend. Still a derby at the end of the day. And say what you like about how shite they are. They know how to turn it on. They literally just got back. They're off the back of beating us 3-0 in January. So they know they will be better in these games, and we need to accept that sometimes. As shite as they are, they're terrible. Don't get me wrong. It's the worst Rangers team I've seen in my life. But it's still, there's something in a Rangers team that will turn it up against Celtic. So I'm not going to sit here and go off 6-0, 7-0 because, well, you know. Thanks, Michael. Appreciate it, mate. It's been a decent wee 25th, to be honest. A decent wee 25th. It could be spell the glove, absolutely. Giving Engels the opportunities to see how he is there. So wait and see. Thought Rio didn't play down the middle as much. Still love him though. I love him. I love him to absolute bits. He was a bit sloppy at the weekend, wasn't he? Back-to-back streams, you must be feeling good today. Well, you know, as I said, it's my birthday. I thought I'd be nice to everybody, you know, and give the members something and give you guys something, you know. 4-1 is what I'm thinking, but then again, form is out the window on derby days. There we go, Reece using the good old cliche that we've covered. It's true, Reece. You're right. I would love a 4 or 5-0 to be perfectly candid, but whether we get it or not is a different story. Caden still talking about the summer and saying a winger to cover Jota, Schlupp and a permanent, a defensive midfielder to give Cal McGregor a break, a striker on a set. You're not asking for much, Caden, are you? Christ, you may as well throw in another goalkeeper, a right back, another left back, a right mid, a left. No, I'm joking, but you know there will be a list at Celtic. But remember, this is a big squad. We need to trim as well. But we can't just get a 30-man squad together and then leave folk out European lists and all the rest of it. But I get where you're coming from. Those are areas we should look at. Whether all of them are prioritised in the summer, maybe some for winter or next year, we'll wait and see. But anyone will do me on Sunday as well, 100%. I just went to the Daily Darber, as I said at the start of the stream. You know, I love that place. Great Indian. I would say the best Indian, to be honest. I had a Chasney. Loved it. Worst Rangers team in your life is a bit far. That 2016 wouldn't get a player in my current team and it's rotten. I will die on that. It's not about... This is the thing. When you're talking about a football team, Nathan, because I know you like arguing with me nowadays. When you're talking about a football team, it's not necessarily just about the man-to-man element of football. You know, obviously that team was terrible when you go, right, okay, their goalkeeper was Wes Foderingham, their right back still James Tavernier, they had Felipe Senderos. Of course Felipe Senderos was terrible, but they were managed far worse in this season than they were in 2016, hence the reason they're 16 points behind. And when you consider how, and this is why it's the worst Rangers team I've seen in my life, because this team should be doing better and they're not. So the fact that they're doing that bad with a team that's significantly better than the one in 2016 is the reason for me it is the worst ever. It's the worst Rangers team. And I think Rangers fans would agree with that. I think it is the worst. At least when they came back to the league in 2016, there was obviously the blinded sort of element of like, oh, we're back and we're going to challenge Celtic. But deep down, they all knew that it was going to be tough because they were so far behind. However, this year, they went in with a lot of backing to come on, with a lot of money being spent, and this is what they presented. So this is a terrible Rangers team. And the 2016 one, I get what you're saying, they finished 40 points behind. It's a bad team. But once again, it was a team of Joey Gardner. It was a team, of course, man for man, you're spot on, Nathan. Man for man, that one is the worst. It was a second-tier team. But you've got to bring expectation and things like that into it. And this Rangers team has seriously underperformed compared to that Rangers team who I think we all knew, anybody who wasn't a Rangers fan, we all knew they were going to finish miles behind Celtic. So that's why, in my opinion, that this is the worst Rangers team that I've seen in my life. Because I knew that one was going to be bad. Whereas this one, I knew it was going to be bad, but not quite this bad. By the way, a huge shout out to Adam Mitchell. 20 quid. Few pints on you. I appreciate that. I'll take that to Belgium with me. Actually, I won't even get it before Belgium. I'll get it for fucking London. So I'll take it to London with me. That's when it'll reach my bank account. I appreciate that, Adam. You're an absolute... Too nice. Too nice of a guy. Too nice of a guy sometimes, Adam. I love you, mate. And I'll see you in the member stream later on. Thank you to Dylan as well, being a 6-month member. About time I got the 6, as Drake would say. Welcome to the 6. It's not what Drake would say. I was, just, you know, the 6 Toronto and all that nonsense. Right, let's run through a few more before we wrap things up. We are reaching that half-hour mark. We have over 200 live viewers, so thank you all very much. Do appreciate it. Nathan also saying, I actually thought you were off it on the match reaction. Thought Engels was the poorest of the three on Sunday. Really? I don't agree. I don't agree. Didn't seem himself, but hopefully a big performance against Rangers. I thought that McGregor and Hatate were the sloppiest. I don't think Engels, and I said this, I don't think there was any player on that park at the weekend who was exceptional. And there was nobody that I went, what a game they had today. Maybe the defenders were the best, but I thought that Hatate and McGregor were just misplacing passes left, right, and centre. So that was why I thought that about him. And about them, I should say. 3 quality signings in the summer, also with KT and Big Jeff as well, but need to get a lot of Deadwood out, a lot are on loan. Well, we heard that story today about Gustav Lagerbielke and how he could be moving on for a decent fee in the summer. Hopefully that's the case with a couple of players. So wait and see. Hello, Luke. How you doing? Luke saying, hi Ryan, seen you in Munich in the pub before the game. Happy birthday, mate. Thank you, Luke. I appreciate it. I worry Rodgers will play into Rangers' hands and go for them too much, leaving us open on the counter. Do you know what the worst thing is? I would love to follow that up by saying, well, do you know what? At least it'll be Cyril Dessers who's on the counter and he's hopeless. But he's actually been playing quite well recently. So, you know what? If he's, I don't want to bang a guy in confidence being in on goal. Look, Rodgers will take these things into account. He's a top manager for a reason. But, you know, Rangers will have a go at it. Of course they will. And you've got to be wary of that. As I've said already, they might be shite, but they still know how to get it done against Celtic when they need to, hence the reason they won 3-0 in the last game. So we'll just wait and see. Right, let's go for like 2 or 3 more. Do you think we'll see Rodgers play mind games this week on and off the touchline? Of course he will. It's Brendan Rodgers. Of course he will. He'll be telling us some story about fucking, I don't know, Phil Clement giving him a bottle of wine after the last game and, I don't know, try to get it Barry Ferguson said. He'll make up some nonsense. Everybody was misplacing passes, to be fair. Maybe I'm blinded by my love for Engels. The Clowns on open goal for Engels did nothing on Sunday. I couldn't see how he done nothing, to be honest. But as we said, we covered, who was it that somebody brought up? The Ross McCormack and his thoughts, which was a bit bizarre. Thank you, Alistair, mate. I appreciate it. Favourite derby win? Here's a good one to finish off on. Let's get some derby positivity in. Favourite derby win, that 3-0 versus Ange after we hunted them down, was unbelievable that night. Listen, I think that the best derby I've ever been to will be that 3-0, the February night. I don't know if it'll ever be topped. Just because you hit the nail on the head, Nathan. Just the circumstances surrounding it and what it meant for the shift, the kind of the pendulum shift in the league that year. It really was the catalyst for us to go on and win that league title. Of course, it was the arrival of like Rio Hatate and it was really when the Maida and such just really announcing themselves. I'm not old enough to remember the 6-2s and such. It's between 2 for me, but the 3-0 probably takes it because I was there. But my favourite that I wasn't at, and even because even without being there, it still remains one of my favourites. I was too young to go. Was 2008, Jan Venegura Hesselink and the penalty save and all the rest of it. The one that the year Tommy Burns sadly passed away and we ended up winning the league. You know exactly the game I'm on about. That's probably up there as well. It's got to be one of those 2 for me, I think. But there's so many. I've seen some great shouts coming up. 5-1, 2016, that's up there for me. Dembele, still, he has a place up here for a reason. It's up there. Alistair saying 5-1, 21st of November 1998. Your first, wow. I mean, well, my first was a 5-1 as well. 3-0 at home during a time where we were meant to struggle. Then battering 2-1 at then battering them 2-1 at Ibrox, of course. Absolutely. Some great derbies over the years. Plenty. That's something we can probably cover. We'll probably do another live on Saturday before the game, so maybe we'll be able to go through it then. On that note, it's time I wrap up tonight's public stream. Members, if you are tuning in to the members only stream, we will be live in about 5 minutes time. I'm going to restart this PC so the camera doesn't keep freezing. I will see you there in about 5 minutes. If you're not a member and that's you for tonight, thank you for joining me. Once again, thank you everybody for the happy birthday wishes. I do appreciate it. You're absolute legends. I love you guys. Thank you to Adam for the £20 donation as well. The man is skinning himself to show his love for the channel. But thank you everybody. I do really appreciate it. You guys are the absolute best. And we'll be back on the channel tomorrow with content, hopefully with content. As I said, it's a quiet time, not an awful lot happening, but hopefully we'll get one story to rinse 10 minutes out of. Until then, take care of yourself, God bless, and I'll see you all next time.